guys, welcome back to my channel, What About Babe? Remember, this is a channel that we talk about interesting topics, serious topics, and just really odd topics. We have a surprise guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm John Mark. I'm Lena's husband.
What is our topic today?
Oh man, it's the first part of growing up in the 90s. Today is going to be about all the food, candy, and snacks and drinks that you can think of that when you try them out, they just remind you of growing up in the 90s.
How do you feel when a kid says, you grew up in the 1990s? Like, you sound like you're in the 1900s. You sound old.
Well, you know, I kind of remember when I was that age thinking that 30-year-olds were really old, and now I'm like 35, and I'm like, I'm not that old.
I'm not that old. Now, when I turn and my back pops, then I feel old, but we're really not that old. It's like grandparents were like 50-year-old, you know, and now it's like, no, they're like 80.
Yeah.
So, we have some yummy food in front of us. What do we have?
We have some Eggo waffles. We have some Cookie Crisps. And over there in that box, we got some Fruit by the Foot.
So these were our favorite growing up. And some of the stuff that we really enjoyed, they don't make anymore. Or they're making remakes of stuff and upgrading, which is awesome. I also see you have an interesting drink.
So, growing up, grape soda was one of the big things that I always drank. My dad had this mowing business, and I would mow lawns with him. And so, between lawns, we would kind of alternate. After we finished one lawn, we'd drink a water, and after the next lawn, I got to get a soda.
Yeah.
And grape soda was my jam.
Right. And we're going to be talking about more drinks that were like our special treat. Like, you didn't get it all the time, so you knew it was special. Whoops. But I have to say the Eggo waffles were delicious.
Yeah, they were.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have a list of different food items, snack items that will get the conversation started. But we might think of stuff off the top of our head. But then also in the comment section, remember, we have conversations. So if there's things that you grew up in the 90s, or sad to say your parents grew up in the 90s with, share it, or stuff that you eat now. This is stuff that we had when we were little. So the first topic, I know this is one of your favorites. I remember talking about when we first started dating, bagel bites. Pizza bagel bites?
Oh, yep. Well, like, so we would get them every now and then, kind of a rare thing.
Yeah.
But, like, I also remember my mom making stuff like that.
Would she use, like, biscuits, or?
No, she would, if she did it, she would get, like, a regular bagel. It's just that it would be a full-size bagel, which is, like, perfect as a personal pizza for a kid, you know? And you could just put some butter, some tomato sauce, some cheese, some pepperonis.
That sounds really good. I know we would buy the pizza bagel bites, but we never would make them, but we would make, like, a cheaper version with, like, the can of biscuits and then tomato sauce. And
now, I do remember growing up a lot where, since we didn't have a whole lot, instead of buying pizza at the restaurant, bringing it home or anything, a lot of times my mom would get that. Pillsbury made this pizza dough that was in a can, and you would roll it out, and it was a rectangle-shaped thing of dough, and it had cornmeal on it, and so it was a little bit sweet. And then she would have a really spicy tomato sauce that kind of had some bite to it, and so it would the sweet and spicy would balance each other out, and then you had your cheese and your pepperoni. That's nostalgia for me.
See, now this just gonna make me crave mods and Blaze and sponsorships. Please rate us sponsorships. It's like Qdoba. I'm so excited using Qdoba. Okay, sorry, distracted. So that kind of goes into the pizza rolls. I was raised on pizza rolls. Now, if you grew up in the 90s, can you admit, was there one time you were so hungry that pizza roll may have not got as hot as it needed to get?
Yeah. Well, like...
But we survived!
Also, there was when you made the mistake of... you put a whole bunch of them on a plate.
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't space them out enough. And then you put the plate in the center of the microwave.
Yeah.
In case you guys didn't know, you're not supposed to put stuff directly in the center of the microwave. You're supposed to put it just to the side on the rotating table. That way the center actually gets hot. And I didn't know this until I was an adult.
I'm just now learning this.
And so, well, like, if you get one of those little personal, like Geno's or Walmart pizzas that's real small, it says in the instructions to not put it in the center of the microwave, to offset it so that it gets hot in the middle.
I didn't read the instructions. I saw the temperature and the time. That was it.
And so, the things you learn. But when you did that, you put it in the center, and so the hot pocket and the pizza roll in the center would not get hot, but the ones on the outside would be like the surface of the sun, and they would like peel the roof off your mouth. Yeah.
Did you also have the problem that I would always get mad about? It didn't matter how long I did it, but they would bust open.
Oh, yeah.
I hated it. Now, I still ate it. I got a spoon and I scooped it off, but did you have a favorite flavor?
So, I usually like stuff that's like combination. So, a mixture of pepperoni and sausage.
Yeah.
So, that's another thing. Growing up, my parents would only ever get pepperoni pizza. I had to beg to ever get sausage. And the only way I could convince them to get a sausage pizza was if it was pepperoni and sausage.
That kind of makes me think of like going to your parents' house the first, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years. Well, probably 5 years, because in next March, it will be 7 years of being together. This October will be 3 years of marriage, which sounds incredibly crazy, but we go over there once a week to have dinner, and if they brought up pizza, your dad was always wanting that pepperoni with the marinara, and so now he's like, hey, I'm gonna bring dinner, and then they're like, ooh, this is really good, so we got off of that.
I'll bring like a meat lovers pizza from Domino's and I'll swap out the tomato sauce for the that garlic butter sauce that they have. Like garlic parmesan butter.
I never tried pesto until you and I got together. And I think we went to the Blaze Pizza here in Tulsa. And I was like, well, what's pesto? And he explained, oh, it's herbs and oil and all this good stuff. And ever since then, I'm like, oh, I don't really want marinara. I want this. But, Weight Watchers, I have to stay away from some of the oil. So I have to kind of go back on the marinara, but not too bad. This is interesting because we almost bought part of this one at the store last night. But kid cuisine with the cosmic brownies. So like kid cuisines, they still have them, right? They still have them. It's like a kid's TV dinner. And it's made for kids. And most of them would come with the cosmic brownie before Little Debbie brought it out, right? So now Little Debbie has it in a snack cake.
I don't know. Cosmic brownie may have been out for a while. I know it. I'm pretty sure it came out in the 90s. It may have come out earlier. I'd have to look that up.
And that's kind of interesting. It's like, do they have a partnership,
Well, that was like, I looked up... zebra cakes, and I think it's been out since like the 40s or 50s.
That is crazy.
Like, it's been out that long.
Wow. It's like I mean we never really got to get had the pleasure of getting snack cakes very much when we were little, or at least in my family it was like just out of the budget, and we have mentioned budget friendly stuff because back then like you had. Most of the time just one parent working and the other parent staying home with kids. And it was easier then to do that. So you had strict grocery shopping budget that you had to stick to. So I think the only snack cake I remember really eating was like the cinnamon roll.
Oh yeah, the pinwheels. Yeah.
Which the proper way to eat that is when you take them apart, right?
Yep.
And the donut like sticks.
I ate pinwheels like people eat fruit roll-ups.
Yeah.
Like
you
you just stick the end in and you just just all the way down.
Now, my dad used to... Now, I don't like cherry. It looks good, but I don't like the flavor of it. But they used to have these big cinnamon rolls, and I don't know if they called it sweet rolls. Sorry for my speech. But I think it was cherry or strawberries, and they were these humongous ones that came in a tray, like a cardboard tray. And it had icing all over it, and it had, like, the cherry or the strawberry. Do you remember seeing those? I don't know if they still have them, but that was, like, a big thing that I would always see my dad eat. But yeah, kids cuisine. That got distracted.
Yeah, I know that like when I was a kid, we didn't even have enough to always do stuff like the the Lunchables. Mm-hmm. Those were like a rare treat,
Yeah.
Like usually for me it was like a little bit of fruit. Like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or like a bologna sandwich. And sometimes I get different types of sandwich, but then like I read so many books that there was this library program that Pizza Hut had where you could get like a personal pizza if you saved up so many points in their system. So like I remember being so into it and being like, this is how I can get this little treat that I would look up on the list which books had the highest points and I would go and like read all of those. Now I was actually reading them. I wasn't just like faking
He's a bookworm.
And so I remember doing that to get those little Pizza Hut personal pizzas, and my mom would bring it up for lunch one day. And then I remember that we would go to the grocery store, which we had to drive a long ways from our house. Even though we were in a nice neighborhood, the town, there's two towns, and they're separated by a certain distance, and it hadn't filled in yet. Now it's like the most commercialized area in like hundreds of miles.
Yeah,
but
you see the same restaurant like multiple times, and you only been driving like
a couple miles.
Yeah.
And so like that area, the closest grocery store, you had to drive a good like 7 miles or something like that. But then like, so we would drive over there, and it wasn't even a Walmart. It was like a place called a Price Mart.
Oh, Price Mart.
And that was the closest one. And right next door to it in this shopping center was a Little Caesars. And that was like the once a month or so.
Oh, so that's
treat.
where you got it from. See, yeah. I remember it, and they've kind of come back with it, but it's with Pizza Hut. I think Pizza Hut has like a reading thing, but I don't know if it's...
Oh no, that the personal pizza thing was Pizza Hut. It's just that maybe once every month or so, whenever we go to get groceries, my parents would actually stop in and buy a pizza at Little Caesars. That was... So they left town for maybe a decade and a half, and then they finally came back.
Yeah. And now it's like everyone knows Little Caesars. They're known for the... Are they still $5 pizza? Or did they go up a little bit?
$5 or is it $5? No, I think
for
the
inflation.
single topping is still $5, but they've added on
combinations.
Like if you do 2 toppings, it's $6 or something like that, and so on and so forth. And
yeah. Now I have to say, seems how we got onto like the pizzas and stuff like that from it. When you go back to like the kids' cuisines, like back then we thought, oh man, this is good, and then now when you even just look at it or eat it, you're just like, it's not very healthy. I was like, wow, we just got to get the brownie. We were excited. Or do you notice that with like a lot of TV dinners? If you recommend certain ones that you think are great, like he's starting to find some really good ones, but like the mac and cheese, like it just tasted bland and fake. Kinda,
Frozen dinners are a lot better than they used to be. That's all I'm saying. They're not even in the same ballpark.
Now, I have to say, I was raised on the, was it Banquet? Salisbury steak back in the day. A 90s thing. But what is the next one for you?
Oh, it says toaster strudel. Yeah, I remember. So I remember there being regular toaster strudel, which it's like, those cheese danishes.
Yeah.
So it's like that cream, and then like a fruit jelly, like jam in there, and they would mix them up inside the rectangle toaster strudel as a filling, and then you put it in the toaster, toast it up.
Yeah.
And then you drizzle this
like
streusel icing on there. Ugh. And those were really good. That was kind of like a special treat when we were doing good. I think I started seeing that after like loans and all that stuff got paid off, and then it's like, okay, we have some room to breathe now.
Yeah.
And then there was also like the breakfast ones.
It was like toaster scrambles or something like that.
It had like egg and bacon and cheese, or sausage and cheese.
See, those were the ones I remembered. Well, I remember seeing toaster strudels, but we never got them. Like, I still have not tried one, so we're going to have to try one.
Yeah.
But, I remember the scramble ones, because that was something, oddly enough...
And you had to do them in the toaster, because if you did them in the microwave, the center never got hot.
Yeah, that and, like, the outside would get hard and stuff, and it wouldn't be good. But, I remember that when it got to about, like, junior high school, and that was what my dad got us to just, because we could warm it up, go to the bus stop, but I miss those. And I think the sausage was my favorite, but I really didn't mind the bacon either. Now this is one thing I never bought, but I remembered the commercial, the Wonder Ball. Now was that like a chocolate bar? Ball?
Yeah, it was literally a hollow ball of chocolate. So they would make like 2 half spheres.
Yeah.
And then they would put a toy or different stuff inside, and then they would melt the 2 spheres together. And so you'd have to bite into it to open it up and get to the toy.
I have to say, with like the 90s, I feel like we remember almost every commercial. We can do those jingles or commercial songs or something.
Oh,
like,
man.
Off the top
So
of our head.
like lately I've been digitizing all my mom's old VHSs. I've got a setup to play it from the VCR into a streaming capture card and record it. And some of the stuff, it's like you'll get through these childhood videos that they recorded, but then you realize that they just recorded them over TV shows that they'd recorded before. And so then afterwards, after the home videos are done, then all of a sudden you'll cut into the middle of a show, and then it'll go to commercial break, and you'll start seeing all these cool old commercials, and it's just like, oh man, I remember that.
I know.
And then sometimes you go, man, they still play that commercial.
That's like we were actually at your parents' house the other day, and we were like, oh my gosh, can they not make a new commercial for this company? Like, hire us, we will do it.
It's like Brahms.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, you'd think they never get a new commercial.
But I remember like our VHS tapes, not even the ones of our home movies, but like ones back in the day that we taped off the TV. It would be like Christmas movies, but then in between, you would see the Christmas like Coca-Cola commercials, the winter Campbell's where
you'd be all frozen like
the snowman and like that stuff. But they still do like the chocolate kisses one. I've noticed is my favorite Christmas one, where it has like the chocolate kisses and they do like the jingle bell, the rock thing. I love that. Okay, this one's gonna be a heated one. 3D Doritos. Now, why is it heated?
So, I know people say that they brought them back, but they didn't really bring them back. They're not the same.
Disgusting.
That's not the same product
No.
that we had in the 90s. It doesn't taste the same.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't quite look the same.
Oh, yeah.
They're not the same.
They're smaller, and I could handle that. I get it. You know, inflation, charge more, get less. I get it. But even if it was small. But now, did we have the Cool Ranch back in the day? No, we had all of it. Didn't they even have Funyuns back in the day? Like the little things in there? But it would come in this big container. Now, they don't even have the same container. It just comes in a bag. But we used to get like this, it was like a black, almost like a bottle.
Yeah, so it looked like almost like an energy drink bottle with a screw-off cap on it.
That was black.
And and so you'd unscrew it, and they were inside. You could just pour them out. They did that so that you could fit it in the cup holder in your car.
Yeah, the lid could be even a little cup.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the whole the bottle. I mean, it was the size of a regular bottle, so you could actually fit it in the cup holder in your car. You know, a lot more portable snack than it is now.
Oh yeah, the nacho cheese one now, it's not nacho cheese. It's like, it has like a chili con queso kind of flavor. It doesn't taste the same. It gives you a bellyache. And then the ranch is just odd.
Back in the day, the nacho cheese one actually tasted like the nacho cheesier Doritos in the red bag. You know, it was just a 3D puff.
Yeah.
You know.
And just in case, I know these people will not watch this video, but if you are with the Doritos company or know someone, and these dips that they made, take bell pepper out of it. Why?
Oh, yeah. So, I have a lot of food allergies.
Which I've mentioned before.
I'm allergic to bell pepper and celery and oats and walnuts. Oats and walnuts, not as big a deal because they're all on the label.
Yeah, they're always
bell pepper and celery are not always on the label, even if they're in there, because they count as an herb or spice because they're only used for flavoring in most things. So, but Tostitos and all these different cheese dips and stuff, it's supposed to be jalapeno or green chilies and cheese. It's not supposed to be bell pepper. Like, I can only eat maybe a couple of brands. And so I have to go to certain places to get the certain nacho cheese dip that I can have. Yeah. Because all the rest of them have it in there. And so annoying.
It is. But yeah,
of course, that's like a pimento cheese. That's another pet peeve. Pimento cheese is not pimento cheese. There's no pimento peppers in it. Most brands only use bell pepper.
It's just like, if you're gonna do that, change the name.
Yeah.
Just put cheese. You know, that's just, oh wow. I do love these, and I have a funny story with that. But Pop Rocks.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness, Pop Rocks, and they're still around. That kind of goes to like the Warhead conversation we were having the other day. Like, they have enhanced Warheads. Like, now they got like gummies and all kinds of stuff. But with Pop Rocks, the watermelon one was always like, I don't care what kind of candy, watermelon is superior. But I had a student a few years ago, and he came from another country, and he had never had Pop Rocks before. Well, he had won like something in the class, and we gave him the option of Cheez-Its or Pop Rocks, and he picked the Pop Rocks. And he opened it, and he was very confused, and we're just like, oh, just pop a little in your mouth. And the way this kid lit up, it was like a toddler eating like a lemon. He was like so confused, like, what's going on? And we just giggle, but you know, that's like us. I mean, I have a lot of students that come from Honduras, Mexico, and they will bring me like some really hot candy. It's like hot mango, and like they look at me now. I like hot stuff, which is your fault, but I used to not like hot stuff. But those kind of things, they'll look at me like, is that hot? I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. But, you know, it's the culture difference.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're about here.
Oh, Dunkaroos. I didn't get to have them very much.
I don't think I really ever ate them. Isn't it like an animal cookie?
Yeah.
It is
And it's
similar
like,
to an animal cookie.
it's kind of like having an animal cookie with Nutella. Which, I guess we've technically done that. So, story time. My grandpa grew up in the Depression.
Mm-hmm.
And he's no longer with us, but he would always snack on potato chips and peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a Depression era food that was really cheap to make, you know, and so he got me hooked on that. And then I discovered when I moved out from my parents' place and I was able to buy whatever I wanted, that Nutella and potato chips are amazing.
I don't think your mama watches my videos.
I think I'm safe.
Your cousin Christy does, but she might giggle a little bit at the anniversary. But
I'm not allowed to do it very often, but man, is it good.
Well, it was really us just sitting at the table, and I think we were going over like our media work and stuff, and then he was just like, I think he had the chips out, and we were talking about the peanut butter, and he's like, and like you literally saw the light bulb go off on top of his head, and he just went, hold on a second. And he goes and gets it from the pantry, and he's like, oh man, this is a bad idea. Very good guilty pleasure. But you know, at first you might think, oh, that sounds weird, peanut butter or Nutella, but you gotta think you're eating it anyway. Anytime that you have a chocolate covered pretzel, or if you have like the peanut butter crackers, which those will always be like my favorite, it's the salty and isn't it like sweet or nutty and sweet?
Yeah, it's like the salty and sweet just balance each other out and ends up being really good.
Well, okay, it says Scooby Dooby snacks, but any of the fruit snacks, those were always very popular because, you know, simple, kids love them. Cheap.
I think the those Welch's fruit snacks came out, and my mom bought a ton of those.
Oh yeah. I think that's what we love about Sam's, and heads up, Sam's sponsorship. Anyways, I know I'm a very long way from sponsorships, but you never know. But they always sell those in like mass amounts.
Mm-hmm. Planters cheese balls.
Cheese balls. Did you ever buy cheese balls?
Not really. So like when I went to my grandparents, they had cheese puffs. Mm-hmm. But my mom was always like the crunchy Cheeto camp. You know. Yeah. She was team crunchy Cheeto, not puff.
Is it funny that grandparents we put them together with like cheese puffs and all the yummy good. I remember always now. My grandma used to have cheese puffs, but then she would also have Cheetos. But you always come in, and I wish I could find out who has these bowls. Because anytime you come in there, she would bring you a drink, even if you already ate. Did not matter. And she would have these certain bowls, and she would pour either Cheetos or cheese puff in it. And it's just so cute.
I also remember Planters had... Every now and then my mom would let me get this snack from Planters. That it was like a peanut butter crisp cookie that they made in a hollow peanut shaped treat. So it looked like the Planter peanut. But it was like a puff. And like a one of those crisp wafers, you know? And then the filling was like a creamy whipped peanut butter. So they were also known for those. And I remember having those a few times, and you can't find those anymore.
I feel like anytime you get like some of those peanut butter treats, like going down the cookie aisle, you're just like, man, I need to get a better paid job. Like I can't afford these cookies. Unless you get the cheapy cheapy ones. Don't knock the cheapy ones. We've found
Those
some
were
really good ones.
Walmart has some really good ones
Those,
that are like the cheap brand ones.
Yeah, we had
they
just
tasted
found
just as good as the. We got those ones that were
yeah,
knockoff
like
Nutter Butters.
Yeah, those ones actually are like a knockoff of the peanut butter. Is it Do-si-dos? Girl Scout
the
cookies?
girls. Yeah,
because he can't eat those. They have oats in it.
Yeah.
And
the Girl Scout one has oat fiber
Yeah.
in the cookie.
And so he had found that, and I was like, all right, those are yours. I can't eat them. Who ate most of the pack? I counted the points. I have my app to vouch for it. Potato sticks, which is funny that I actually talked to my mom about that the other day.
There's potato sticks, but then, like, you remember Andy Capp's hot fries and cheese fries? They still have them. I loved the hot fries.
Mm-hmm. But we never really got them from the store growing up. That was something that if you were visiting someone in the hospital or at AutoZone or something, that's what you got out of the vending machine. Do you remember that?
Yeah. My dad would let me get them when we're out mowing lawns as a snack. Like once a day, he'd let me get a little snack on while we're out mowing. So my dad was a teacher, and so we would go to school together because he taught at my middle school and high school. And even, I started mowing with him when I turned 12.
Yeah.
As soon as I was big enough to start the mower on my own, my dad was like, all right, you're hired. And he paid me good. But so as soon as school got out, we would go home, hook up the mowing trailer, go mowing until, and we would mow 4 lawns a day, and then we'd mow all day Saturday, and we'd have Sunday off.
Yeah.
And if there was a rainstorm during the week, then you had to work a lot extra on Saturday.
Yeah. And there weren't small yards. These were massive. Yeah. He's shown me some of them.
Well, probably about half of them were regular lots, but then some of them were there's a couple acre lot.
Yeah.
Or yard, and it wasn't flat. It had ditches and it had
hills and all that kind of stuff. So now I kind of want to try getting those hot fries and see if we still like them. Were they as good as we thought they were? You know, because when you have a treat, you're just oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing in the world. And then later on, you're just when I could just buy it whenever. Now, one we had put on, and this will be the last of the snacks, candy kind of thing, is the baby bottle pops.
I never got those.
But did you have a ring pop?
Yeah, I did a ring pop here and there, but so my mom would not let me get hard candy.
Yeah.
Because she didn't want me to get cavities. So she was like, if you hold concentrated sugar on your teeth, you're going to have cavities. You're only allowed to have stuff that chews up and goes away.
Yeah.
And so sugar stuff that was pure sugar, she usually didn't let me have. She would buy chocolate all the time. She would buy pastries. Because you eat them, they're gone. But she wouldn't buy Jolly Ranchers or Ring Pops or anything like that. But I also would, the idea of a baby bottle pop to me wasn't very appealing. But
mainly for girls.
I remember doing Fun Pop.
Yeah.
The Fun Dip.
Yeah.
Fun Dip. And then my jam was the Pixie Sticks.
We were actually going to buy those, and I totally forgot about that. Yeah, Pixie Sticks. Baby bottle pop, I think I bought it once, and it was mainly similar to a Fun Dip. It's just, it had the sucker instead of the kind of the hard candy that you would dip it in. But ring pops, being wedding photographers and videographers, like I told you, we've seen a lot of ring pops at weddings.
Yep.
In special moments when they're supposed to be pulling out that ring.
Oh, yeah.
Surprise.
So there's been a few grooms that have pranked their fiancés at the altar,
Yeah.
going and grabbing the ring, and then there's my ring pop, and then make her laugh, and then they pull out the actual ring.
Oh yeah, it's a cutie. But that also makes it kind of ties in. I forgot that there was one candy snack I was supposed to mention. I had our sister-in-law Christina. She had mentioned the strawberries and cream candies. You remember those?
Oh yeah.
She remembered those, and she was like, that was like her favorite.
Oh, another one. So when I was growing up, my grandpa, he always had those licorice nips, and they were kind of halfway between like a really hard taffy, and a hard candy, and those, and then like butterscotch candies.
Yeah.
So like whenever I have either of those two, I'm like, oh man,
brings you back.
Childhood, grandma and grandpa's, you know.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. My grandma always had, both grandmas would always have gum. One grandma would have was it like wintergreen? The other one would have like the red, which was like the cinnamon one that was hot. Like anytime I see that TikTok sound that was like, why is it so spicy? That's the hot stuff.
You remember those, every grandma has these. I don't know where they get them. They just miraculously appear. Strawberry candies.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're in that little red and
it actually looks like
tops.
A strawberry.
Yeah, it looks like a strawberry wrapper. Oh man, yeah, that's.
They have gotten better with those, because used to when you would eat those and you would finally bite into it, it would be stuck to your teeth.
Yeah.
But they're actually better now. I have to say that. So now we're getting on to like the drinks. Surge. I know my brothers love Surge. Did you like Surge?
I only had it every now and then. I was obviously always on like the grape soda, but even when I was a teenager, and doing the video game nights, me and my friends were always like Mountain Dew and Coca-Cola. We would chug tons of those. Though I stopped liking Coca-Cola as much because I could tell with the amount that I was drinking that it would kind of strip the coating off my teeth, and it just felt bad. And so I stopped drinking Coke for a while.
Yeah, I was never huge in it. I would drink it here and there, but it was my brother's stuff. Okay, you talk about the next one, because I have never tried
Okay, so clearly Canadian. It was like a flavored sparkling water, like a seltzer water type thing, you know, and it had a real good, strong fruit flavor.
So it wasn't like these hint waters?
No, it was not a hint. You could taste it. It was... so they had different flavors. They had stuff like blackberry and stuff like that, and mango, and good fruit flavors. They didn't make weird combinations.
Yeah.
They just did flavors that you didn't necessarily always see in regular sodas. And I remember some of them had these little balls that would float in it that would pop when you're drinking it. And it's kind of a cool thing, but my mom got those as kind of a treat for herself, you know, and so that was kind of something that reminded me of growing up in the 90s, and they disappeared completely for a long time, and they just came back. So they've started selling them, and you can find them some places. Like we can find them in Come and Go around here, and World Market.
Yes.
Yeah, World Market has them. Then see, we got the High C Ecto Cooler.
Yeah, so we that was when all of the High C, like the little juice boxes, came out, and the Ecto Cooler one had to deal with the Ghostbusters, I believe.
Yeah,
because Ghostbusters was coming out with like 80s, 90s, and it was like the green one, and I still remember they're about to have the next Ghostbusters. I wanted to say it was December of this year, but I think it might be next year. I'm not sure. But when we went to go see the newest one last year, they actually had, no, it wasn't that. It was the one with the females, with Melissa McCarthy.
Was it?
Yeah.
The last one I saw was...
Well, I know that was the most recent one.
Yeah.
But when my brothers and I went to go see the one with all the female leads, the Cinemark movie theaters actually sold them in cans, like the high-seat Ecto. And so even though I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I crave this, my brothers and I have 3 brothers, and we were all sitting there with our Ecto cooler drinks, and we were watching Ghostbusters, and it was pretty cool. Fruitopia, this was the time that I remember it the most was in 9th and 10th grade, because we had a pop machine that had Fruitopia, and the something passion, strawberry passion or fruit passion, something, that was my favorite flavor.
Yeah.
Did you ever drink those?
Not very often.
They were really good, but they sadly discontinued them.
Yeah, I think the 90s had a lot of tea-based drinks.
Yeah.
You know, that was kind of a fad in the 90s, so like Fruitopia was technically like a part of that whole flavored tea type thing, but some of them were sweeter like Fruitopia. Some of them were more on the tea side like Snapple. Which Snapple is on our list too. I remember my dad drank those a lot. I never really liked them because to me, it was like, those are some weird ass tasting flavors.
Right.
Like, ugh.
I've
like,
always
some
been,
of them were good, but a lot of them were just like weird to me.
I don't think I ever really drank Snapple. If I did, I don't remember it. But I was always that person. I like tea and I like fruit things. And it wasn't until I got a little older where we would start using like the Crystal Lights and we use flavorings. And I've mentioned like the skinny syrups on a different video that I can kind of bridge in and put like peach in my tea or stuff like that.
We also have like
a
Great Value at Walmart. They have like this little squeeze thing with sweet tea flavor, but it's sugar free. And you can take different flavorings and add it in so you can make your own flavored tea.
Yeah, and it's pretty good, but I do have to say, have been on Weight Watchers, and we had done that even before we got married. The Gold Peak Zero Tea has to be my favorite. I actually look like a hoarder when we go grocery shopping because I will find it, he has to grab it because it's on the top shelf, and I take 3.
Gold Peak Zero Sugar sweet tea, you can't tell the difference between regular sweet tea and that. It's pretty good. But
once you start drinking like diet drinks and stuff like that, when you drink that extra sugar one, it's either going to give you like that head buzz kind of thing, or it's just going to taste flat and gross.
Yeah.
So, and the Squeeze It or the barrels, like the fruit drinks, kind of go, it's basically Kool-Aid, it's just in a cool plastic.
Yeah.
Thing. And we were going to get that one.
We were trying to get Sobe. So up until recently, I know it's not in most markets, but we could, until recently, get Sobe. Like the strawberry daiquiri and the what's the other one? The pina colada. So we could get those up until not too long ago. And that strawberry daiquiri one. Whew.
That reminds me of a story, and I don't think you remember it. It was it the first time that you and I went? It was one of the first times that he took me to church when we were dating. I don't think it was the first, but one of the first few times. And you had picked me up, and we were going to one of the older location of Life Church, because I explained that we go to Life Church. And we went to the location you went before we switched to our current one. Okay, so we went, and he was complaining about his head hurting. But before we went in, we stopped at Quick and you probably don't remember this, but you went in and you had some aspirin in the car, and you went and you got you a strawberry daiquiri.
I kind of remember that.
And so he takes off the lid, he puts it on his lap, and he's taking his medicine. And I'm just looking at his leg, and I just die out laughing. Do you remember?
Mm.
I look at the cap, and it, you know how like Taco Bell stuff says things?
Oh,
it literally
yes,
said marry me. See?
Yeah,
it said marry me. And I just now thought of that. I was like, oh my god, that is funny. So, it worked out. So see, so be. You have to come back. It just said that they were having like some,
It was like regional availability is basically what it said.
so it's not gone forever. So come back. You're part of our story. We want to make announcements in the future using soap.
We got Capri Sun on here.
Capri Sun, that is still high and mighty with people.
I got burnt out on it because I played soccer in the 90s and early 2000s. Or I guess it was all in the 90s.
Yeah.
Up until the year 2000. I played soccer. And so every week, every parent would always get Capri Sun for the after-game treat. Another one that I forgot to put on the list. Go-Gurt.
Go-Gurt.
Those came out. I remember the commercials. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I just thought we would have to have these out. Now, is it all one flavor?
I think this is like 2 flavors mixed together.
2 flavors mixed together. Okay.
It's berry.
It's berry. Maybe we should try this. I don't have that funny. And then YouTube's going to give me that as a thumbnail example.
I seem to remember these not having a separator piece.
Right.
This is way easier.
Well, do you remember they had one?
I remember like fruit roll-ups and stuff. It's like all of them were always really hard to get separated.
Wasn't there some people that would just literally, just lay it? The guilty look in his eye.
Well, you mean some people.
You remember the ones that had like a tattoo?
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about that the other day, and it would leave like a little tattoo. But yeah, that's pretty much our video today. Basically just, reminiscing on old times. And we're going to have a part 2 to this, like he said. And as you can kind of tell from my t-shirt of Mighty Ducks, next Friday is going to be part 2 to growing up in the 90s. And it's going to be basically entertainment. Like movies, music, TV. So if there's stuff that you want to talk about, give us a shout out in the comment section, and we'll list your name and then start a conversation with that.
Maybe we should do a episode on restaurants too.
That would be cool. A lot of ones that aren't here anymore, but then also some that are. Oh, guess Benita.
Oh.
We're not ready to talk about that right now. We don't want to cry.
We can talk about like Taco Bueno and all the stuff that they did, and then how Pizza Huts used to be, how Mazio's used to be. Rib Crib started in the 90s.
So there might be a part 3.
So I know that Rib Crib is not like it's not one of those places that's like everywhere, but it's really good barbecue, and it is a decently large chain, and it started here, where we live. So, same with Mazio's. Mazio's was originally by a different name, and they started here.
We might have to be doing some food reviews, like we've done. I'm not going to get started on it, but we will have other videos, other topics. If there's ideas of videos in the future, please put them in the comment section. We recommend some of these snacks, foods, and drinks if they're still here. If you remember when you first had it, share it with us. I know when I came up with this idea and I told my mom, she was talking about, growing up in the 70s and different snacks she misses. So if there's another decade that you guys would like us to talk about, we would love to do the research on it.
Yep. But, we may she may have another guest that grew up in that era, and they can tell everybody all about that era.
That sounds good. Thank you for watching What About Babe, and we'll see you later.
Have a good one.
Bye.